Hello and welcome. You're watching Newstrack. I'm Preeti Chaudhary. Our big focus tonight, the massive showdown over Delhi BJP leader Tajinder Bagga's arrest, and also on the mockery of the police force of not one but 3 states. We're going to get you an all-out perspective on what went down today within a matter of 6 hours. That's coming up next. But first up, viewers, let me take you through the headlines.
One dramatic arrest. Three states. Three different state police. Cops, netas, and 100% Rajniti. Aam Aadmi Party and BJP at loggerheads. Mega meltdown over BJP's Bagga. Big focus on Newstrack.
That's the top focus on Newstrack. Let me now take you through the headlines. Blood politics peaks in Bengal. Amit Shah meets the family of deceased BJP worker in Kolkata, calls for a CBI probe. Says there is anarchy in Mamata's state. High drama in Varanasi. Kashi Temple Gyanvapi Mosque survey blocked. Locals protest, raise slogans as court-appointed team reaches to conduct a videography of disputed site. And this is a mega India Today impact. Tamil Nadu Chief Minister Stalin says Vignesh's custodial death will be investigated as a murder case. AIDMK stages protest, demands a CBI probe. Political temperature soar in Telangana. BJP Chief Nadda roars on KCR's turf, declares war ahead of Rahul's visit. TRS taunts Rahul, says, "What did you do for the state?" Billionaire Elon Musk likely to show Twitter CEO Parag Agarwal the door after $44 billion deal closes. Reports suggest Musk could take over as Twitter CEO himself too. The big story of the day involving one dramatic arrest, 3 states and its police, nearly 7 hours in all. That's how the arrest of Delhi's BJP leader Tajinder Pal Singh Bagga played out. Bagga was arrested early morning by the Mohali police based on an FIR with the cyber cell for his alleged comments and tweets on Arvind Kejriwal. But the Punjab police was stopped and Bagga handed over to the Delhi police after a dramatic intervention by the Haryana police. Here's how the events unfolded, which are rather rare ever where the police systems across states is concerned.
Early Friday morning, a Punjab police team arrived at BJP leader Tajinder Bagga's home in Delhi's Janakpuri area. The police were from Mohali. They were there to arrest Bagga on the basis of a complaint filed with the cyber cell. The action prompted by Tajinder Bagga's tweets against Delhi Chief Minister Arvind Kejriwal. The case in Mohali was registered against Bagga on April the 1st for incitement to cause violence, use of force in an orchestrated manner by making or publishing provocative, false and communal inflammatory statements through his interview given to media and through his posts on social media site Twitter.
ये जबरदस्ती अंदर घुस गए, इन्होंने उसको खींच के घसीटना शुरू कर दिया। इसने कहा कि मेरे को सर पे कम से कम कपड़ा बांध लेने दो, उन्हें नहीं सी, वो उसको खींच कर ले गए। इन बातचीत नहीं की, बस पकड़ा, घसीटा और ले गए।
कश्मीर फाइल जो पिक्चर आई है, तो कुछ लोगों ने कहा था कि कश्मीर फाइल को टैक्स फ्री कर दिया जाए, तो उन्होंने जब बोला है तो उनके पीछे उनकी विधायिका बैठ के हंस रही थी। उन्होंने कहा कि जब तक आप इसके लिए माफी नहीं मांगेंगे, भारतीय जनता पार्टी का युवा मोर्चा का कार्यकर्ता आपको चैन से जीने नहीं देगा। अब इस बात को लेके इन्होंने कहा है कि तजिंदर पाल बग्गा पे FIR मोहाली से कर लिया, क्योंकि आज पंजाब पुलिस उनके हाथ में आ चुकी है।
Bagga's father alleges that the Punjab police officials manhandled him.
मैं कमरे में गया, अपना फोन उठाया, उसकी वीडियो लेने लगा तो मेरे को वीडियो नहीं लेने दी, मेरे को मुंह के ऊपर पंच किया और जबरदस्ती मेरे को कंधा पकड़ के बिठा दिया।
After arresting Tajinder Bagga from his Delhi residence, the Punjab Police then reached the Janakpuri police station to inform the Delhi Police of the arrest. The act triggered a Delhi versus Punjab Police showdown.
Today, this complete abuse of the police at behest of Mr. Kejriwal, the Super CM of Punjab, as if Punjab Police is his personal Gestapo, is a reminder of emergency days of Indira Gandhi. If Indira Gandhi was alive, she would say, "Well done, Kejriwal." Is this the standard that should be applied? If that is so, the entire Aam Aadmi Party could perhaps be thrown into jail for their own social media comments and their own statements.
ऐसा लग रहा है जैसे कि पंजाब की पूरी पुलिस की ताकत बग्गा को चुप कराने के लिए लगा दी है अरविंद केजरीवाल ने। 50-50 पुलिस वाले उनके घर के अंदर आ रहे हैं, वो भी तब जब कोर्ट ने बहुत स्पष्ट तरीके से कहा था कि इस प्रकार का कोई कदम न उठाया जाए। पुलिस का इस प्रकार से इस्तेमाल भारत के इतिहास में कभी नहीं हुआ है।
Even as the Delhi police tried to figure out Bagga's whereabouts, the Delhi BJP leader was whisked away to Mohali to be produced in court. Around noon, the Punjab police was stopped in Kurukshetra in BJP-ruled Haryana.
क्षेत्र हाईवे ਤੇ ਉੱਥੇ ਲੀਗਲੀ ਡਿਟੇਨ ਕੀਤਾ ਹੋਇਆ। ਅਸੀਂ ਸਾਡੇ ਸੀਨੀਅਰ ਆਫੀਸਰਸ ਉਹਨਾਂ ਦੇ ਸੀਨੀਅਰ ਆਫੀਸਰਸ ਨਾਲ ਗੱਲ ਕਰ ਰਹੇ ਹਾਂ। ਕੋਈ ਡਾਊਟ ਹੈਗਾ ਉਹਨਾਂ ਦੇ, ਅਸੀਂ ਸਾਰੇ ਕਾਗਜ਼ ਪੱਤਰ ਉਹਨਾਂ ਨੂੰ ਭਿਜਵਾਤੇ ਹੀ। ਸਾਡੀ ਅਸੀਂ ਐਸ ਪਰ ਲਾਅ ਉਹਨਾਂ ਨੂੰ ਕਿਵੇਂ ਅਰੈਸਟ ਕੀਤਾ ਅਸੀਂ ਉਹਨਾਂ ਨਾਲ ਸ਼ੇਅਰ ਕਰਦੇ ਹਾਂ ਵੀ ਹੋਪ ਕਿ ਸਾਨੂੰ।
The Haryana government alleged that Bagga had been kidnapped and that it would ensure that he is handed back to the Delhi police.
अगर किसी ने कोई गलती की है तो क्या दिल्ली पुलिस पर आम आदमी पार्टी को भरोसा नहीं है? क्या दिल्ली में पुलिस नहीं है? क्या दिल्ली में लॉ एंड ऑर्डर नहीं है? दिल्ली में भी तो पुलिस सर्च कराई जा सकती है। तो ये अलग बातें हैं, उस पर अभी हम नहीं जाना चाहते हैं। अभी तो इतनी सी बात है कि हमारे पास अपहरण की सूचना आई है और अगर किसी व्यक्ति को अपहरण करके लेके जाया जा रहा है, उसको बचाना, पकड़ना, ये हमारा काम है।
The highway drama continued for another couple of hours. The Punjab police knocked at the doors of the High Court and a Delhi police team reached Kurukshetra. And just a little before 3 p.m, Tajinder Bagga was handed over to the Delhi police and was on his way back to the national capital and his home. With Satyendra Chauhan in Kurukshetra, Bureau Report, India Today.
Because I'd like to now graphically represent the peculiar turn of events that actually spanned through 3 states, not one. What exactly happened that involved 3 state police machinery? And whatever was displayed, many would suggest, was embarrassing for all 3 of them separately. But that aside, let's take you now on what it actually looked like on a map which spanned about 500 kilometers. I want to take you through the Punjab police arrests Tajinder Bagga, comes from Mohali all the way to Delhi. Now this is based on an FIR that was lodged in Delhi. After the arrest, Tajinder Bagga is picked up from Delhi by the Punjab police and then taken right back to Punjab Mohali. However, in the middle there is a patch which comes Haryana. Now Haryana is a BJP government. Kurukshetra is the next point of action where the Haryana police is told by the Delhi police, which has already lodged an FIR, against Tajinder Bagga, against the Punjab police who have picked up Tajinder Bagga, saying that this is a case of kidnapping. There is a white Bolero car coming, stop it. The Kurukshetra Haryana police stops that car. Bagga is then handed over to the Delhi police by the Haryana police. The Haryana police detains the car, waits for the Delhi police unit to come, and then hands over Tajinder Bagga to the Delhi police. The Delhi police then brings Tajinder Bagga all the way from Kurukshetra back to Delhi. In midst of all of this, if it has to be states, I wonder if the Punjab police is now thinking, what if we had just taken the route of Rajasthan to go into Punjab and avoided the route of Haryana? Would the state machinery of Rajasthan be any way which kinder? Well, that's food for thought, but let's cut across to our political panelists, because there is a big political fallout of all of this. Over the course of the last 7 hours is when this entire incident took place. What's happened is we've seen massive protests. Understandably, the BJP going to town literally in protest of what they say is that the Aam Aadmi Party resorted to misusing its state machinery. Our panelists this evening, Nupur Sharma, Bharatiya Janata Party spokesperson, Reena Gupta, Aam Aadmi Party spokesperson. Like to connect to Ms. Gupta first. Ms. Gupta, should anyone at all be arrested for a tweet? And within 50 days of governance, haven't you gone against, in Punjab, everything that you have accused the centre of misusing state machinery? You've done exactly the same today, madam.
So, Preeti, a case was filed against Tajinder Bagga in Punjab for disturbing communal harmony of the state. Mr. Bagga was summoned 5 times by the Punjab Police, but Mr. Bagga thinks just because he is part of the ruling party, he is above the law. Any common citizen, if he is summoned by police and asked to come and cooperate in the investigation, would go and do the same. And also let me explain who Mr. Bagga is to your viewers. Mr. Bagga is somebody who has attacked a Supreme Court lawyer in the premises of Supreme Court, who's attacked several journalists. He has several cases of inciting violence, communal harmony against him. So this is the gunda that Bharatiya Janata Party tried to protect today, because this is the toolkit of Bharatiya Janata Party, that the more gundagardi you do, the bigger leader you become. And Tajinder Bagga is a perfect example. You know, last month also, a couple of gundas from Bharatiya Janata Party, including their MP, attacked the Delhi Chief Minister. All of them were garlanded in the party office. So this is the message that the government, the ruling government wants to give to the youth of the country, that we won't be able to give you any jobs, but you become a gunda and you will become a big leader in Bharatiya Janata Party. The last point I want to make, Preeti, is today that in the history of the country, it has never happened that one police is filing a case of kidnapping in another police. Today they have wasted the time of 3 state police. I wish they were as proactive. The Haryana police was as proactive in solving the crime in Haryana. We would be living in a better state of Haryana. Today, the senior most officers, the IG and several SSPs were standing on the Haryana highway to stop the Punjab police vehicle. And then after that, the Delhi police had gone ahead and registered a case of kidnapping against the Punjab police. Punjab police had given enough chances to Mr. Bagga to appear before the police, explain his case, but he refused to do that. And that's the reason the Punjab police came to Delhi. They followed the due process of law. They informed the Delhi police, the Janakpuri police station, they informed them that they are on their way to arrest Tajinder Bagga. So everything was done by the book. But,
all right, Ms. Gupta, as I bring in your co-panelist, Ms. Sharma, into this conversation, I will ask you again, madam, should anyone at all, the alleged criminal antecedents of what you allege of Mr. Bagga's side, I will ask you in one line, should anyone at all be arrested on the basis of a tweet?
This is not arrest on the basis of a tweet, Preeti. There is a serious case against him. There is an FIR against him. He was asked by Punjab police if he was not, if he had nothing to hide, why did he not cooperate with the Punjab police? Why did he not follow the rule of the law? If he would have followed the rule of the law, then none of this would have happened.
The origin of the FIR is the tweet, Ms. Gupta, but I will bring in Nupur Sharma into this conversation. Nupur Sharma, the Haryana government, the BJP, today has alleged that the Aam Aadmi Party has misused state machinery. But would you reckon it's a little rich, because it's happened in the state of Assam as well with Mr. Mewani, where your government is there, ma'am?
Well, good evening, Preeti. If at all in the case of Mr. Mewani, due process was not followed, he has all the rights to approach the court and actually appeal against it. But that was not the case. And usually in our courts of law it is said, and infamously so, half knowledge of law is twice as dangerous, which is exactly what the Aam Aadmi Party spokesperson established on your show. Point number 1, she said that Tajinder Bagga did not actually follow suit. Yes, 5 summons, 5 notices were issued to him, but what she has actually omitted to tell you is that his own advocate, and he's a senior advocate and a very well-respected one, Mr. Chetan Mittal, actually responded to each and every notice that was issued to him. And I mean the 5. Point number 2, what she has omitted to tell you, that 2 advocates from the city of New Delhi travelled to Punjab and actually submitted a statement on his behalf. Point number 3, no due process was not followed as per the laid down law of the Honorable Delhi High Court. And if you would give me 20 seconds, I am going to read exactly what the law states. Yes, they may have called the Thana, but the law does not stop at just calling the local police Thana and informing them, hello, we are going to arrest somebody in your jurisdiction. That is point number 5 of para number 15, which was the law laid down in the case of Sandeep Kumar versus State of Delhi as per judgment of Justice Muralidharan dated October 18, 2019. Interestingly, what she has omitted to tell you is point number 6. Now, point number 6 states, after reaching the destination, first of all, he as in the assigned police officer, should inform the concerned police station of the purpose of his visit to seek assistance and cooperation. It goes on thereafter to enlist 29 points, Preeti, mind you, as to how an interstate arrest...
Ma'am, let's go one by one. I promise, Ms. Gupta, I'm coming back to you. I
point
promise.
Number 29.
Make your point, Ms. Sharma, make your point.
Yeah, point number 29 of para number 15 of the same judgment goes on to state that delinquent police official, in case the set procedure, the established procedure under this judgment, which was on recommendation of a committee, is not followed, the delinquent police officer can be directed to pay compensation under the public law and by way of strict liability.
Right.
These 29 points were thereafter accepted as recommendations. They were accepted as the set procedure under CRPC, which is the current law of the land, as per para 17 of this judgment. So I do not know what law she is talking about. Anyway, for a party which has infamously declared themselves to be anarchists, should be not talking about following the law of the land. And that's exactly what happened today.
I'm going to go to...
The abduction case registered against the police was actually correct.
I'm going to go to Ms. Gupta, but I'm going to ask you, Ms. Sharma again, how is it different than what happened in Gujarat, Banaskantha, where the Assam police flew in, arrested Jignesh Mevani in Banaskantha in Gujarat, by air took him to Assam on the charges of a tweet that he had tweeted out, which at some point of time offended a BJP cadre. What's so different in what happened here and what happened in Gujarat?
The fact simply is of legal procedure, Preeti. The fact is, you can go by road, you can go by air, or you can go by train. Please follow the procedure, which in the first case says that any visiting police contingent needs to visit first the local thana, thereafter take him to a transit, take him to a local magistrate for transit remand. None of this was followed. And if at all in the case of Mr. Mevani, the set procedure in the state of Gujarat was not followed, then please, I urge you, go to the court. This is the set procedure as far as the jurisdiction of Delhi is concerned. I am not actually stating the law as set by, say, a local court, a district court, or a sessions court. I am quoting directly Justice Muralidharan's
The law of the land was not followed in that case, but fair enough, that's an issue that had to be raised by the Congress in a court of law, which they did not raise. But, you know, prima facie, both cases lack of similarity, but having said that, you've raised questions of procedural overlook, which, Ms. Gupta, there are quite plenty if you look at what's gone down.
So, Preeti, the Punjab police informed the Delhi police, the Janakpuri Thana, but do you really think that Delhi police that reports to Mr. Amit Shah, they refuse to accept that, acknowledgement, the intimation that they will be visiting Mr. Bagga's residence for his arrest? Point number 1. Point number 2, everything has been video recorded. It has been done by the process, by the book, and the facts will come out in the court. But Preeti, the bottom line is, what did they do today? They basically wasted the time of 3 state police, 3 state senior police officers to try to save one Gunda who's a habitual offender, who's always trolling, writing abusive things about everybody on the internet, who's known to incite violence, who's known to cause communal disharmony. To protect that one Gunda tells you what? That this is what the Bharatiya Janata Party stands for. They're a party of Gundas, and they bend backwards to save Gundas. This is what they've shown today. 70 years of the history of this country, it has never happened that state police time has been wasted. One state police slapping a case of kidnapping against another state police. You give me one example where this has happened in the 70 years of India's history.
All right. Ms. Sharma, the fact is, let's prima facie agree. Let's prima facie agree that the Punjab police overlooked all procedures. What did the Haryana police do? What did the Delhi police do? Because many who followed the rule book and the state of police machinery and law would say the intervention of Haryana police was unlawful. That is what is being contested in the Punjab and the Haryana High Court as we speak, which is up for hearing tomorrow. Yes.
Preeti, if that was the case, their AG today actually mentioned this matter before Justice Lalit Batra's court in the Punjab High Court. Pray tell me, where is the judgment where Mr. Batra has said that by not arresting the Punjab police, by not allowing them to arrest
the matter is up for hearing again tomorrow,
the Delhi police and the Haryana police have urged.
Before we talk over each other, before we talk over each other. Okay, I will come. Ms. Sharma, you're going to make your point.
I'm not talking over anybody.
Yes, I agree. I'm going to come to you.
I'm not talking over anybody.
Yes, I agree. I'm going to come to you. But let me. For the benefit of our viewers, they'll get confused. I'm going to allow you. Just for the benefit of our viewers, I just want to make clear there are 3 multiple cases which are going on. That's why the confusion. Case number 1 is what Tajinder Bagga's father filed this morning. Case number 2 is the one which is already going on, where 5 summons by Punjab police were sent for Tajinder Bagga. Case number 3 is the one which Ms. Gupta is talking about, is where the Punjab police filed after the Haryana police intervened and handed over Tajinder Bagga to the Delhi police. Go ahead, Ms. Sharma.
Yeah, but it was still mentioned by their AG before Honorable Mr. Justice Lalit Batra as to how he has not been allowed to arrest Tajinder Bagga. He as in the Punjab police. And therein, there is not a single stricture passed by the Honorable Justice Mr. Lalit Batra in the Punjab High Court that this was illegal to send him back from Haryana. If there is a judgment to the effect, please show me. Second, and most importantly, your apprehension, iski police, cannot actually trump a set established procedure of law. You may believe कि police आपकी है. That's exactly what Kejriwal said. मेरे पास police आ जाएगी तो मैं तो ऐसे arrest कर लूँगा लोगों को. हम मानते हैं देश की police है और वो तो set established procedure of law से काम करेगी Ms. Gupta. Point number 3, most importantly, before you call us gunda, offenders and a bit rich, coming from a party wherein you have ranks of people like Tahir Hussain and Ansar, did that infamous Pushpa wala dance, challenging the authority of the court inside the premises of Rohini Court. And lest we forget, Arvind Kejriwal himself, who slept in the house of the KLF head, Gurvinder Singh, Khalistani person's head. Now pray tell me, under what section should we actually register a case against Mr. Kejriwal? Because he called the Honorable Prime Minister of this country a psychopath, a coward, and thereafter he has been hobnobbing and flirting with Khalistanis, which is all a matter of record, something that even India today actually printed, especially his nightstick KLF leader's place. Point number 3, most importantly, he misused the assembly against which Tajinder Bagga tweeted to actually monger a rumor that the Kashmiri Pandit exodus and cleansing was all a lie. He said, yes, sab jhoot hai. So, Miss Tikku was never raped. She was never cut into half by the saw, a mechanical saw. Another person was never killed. A wife wasn't actually forced to eat kacha rice soaked in her husband's blood. What you have done is completely changed the historical reality of this country.
No, Ms. Sharma,
I'm talking about exactly how you
arrested him. I'm going to, let's not, one second. Where the Kashmiri Pandit statement was concerned, it was clarified very clearly that he did not mean to say that the film is a lie. He said that many times over, even on the floor of the House. That is what he had said. But having said that, that aside...
Yes, he did. Yes, he did. Can't undo what he
Okay, one second. May I come back? May I come back to the moot point? May I come back to the moot point? And that is the fact that whether it is the Punjab police, whether it's the Haryana police, whether it's the Delhi police, anyone who's followed law, who's followed police forces across states would say each one of them made a mockery of themselves. It is up for hearing. The Punjab police has approached the High Court in Punjab and in Haryana, calling, which many would suggest is a fact, the intervention of Haryana police unlawful. We'll only know what the court says tomorrow. Ms. Gupta, you wanted to respond? Go ahead.
See, Preeti, we have seen this time and again that Bharatiya Janata Party promotes these leaders. And this is the message they are giving to the youth of the country, Preeti, that you become a gunda and you become a leader. I mean, Tajinder Bagga has played everything by the Bharatiya Janata Party book. He started, getting into violent activities. He started trolling people. He started behaving like a gunda, and then they gave him a ticket to contest from Delhi.
What
so
is
this
he
is the rule book of Bharatiya Janata Party.
Can we go one by one? Maybe please go one by one. Can I just get, come on. Ms. Sharma, accord the same privilege. Accord the same privilege. You're not being intervened. I'm coming in when? Accord the same to her. Go ahead, Ms. Gupta. I'll come back to you. Go ahead, Ms. Gupta. Make your point.
The point that I'm trying to make is that this is the message that Bharatiya Janata Party is giving to the youth of the country. That गुंडागर्दी करो, पूरे देश में बेरोजगारी है बुरी तरह, हम आपको नौकरी तो दे नहीं सकते, कुछ नहीं कर सकते आपके लिए, महंगाई की वो नहीं कर सकते, लेकिन रोज कहीं ना कहीं दंगा फसाद कराओ, कभी जहांगीरपुरी में कराओ, कभी वहां कराओ, जिससे कि जो रियल इश्यूज हैं, जो देश को फेस कर रहे हैं, इसमें महंगाई, बेरोजगारी, all of that, we don't discuss any of that. We are discussing somebody like Tajinder Bagga, who has several cases against him, why he should not be arrested. That is what we are discussing on National Prime Time today. This is what BJP has brought this country to, and this is how they'll make us Vishwaguru, and this is how they'll make us Atmanirbhar.
Ms. Gupta, but I'm going to come in. The issue is not about whether Tajinder Pal Bagga has criminal antecedents. He might have 100 cases. We are talking about the current case under which he was picked up by the Punjab government, by the Punjab police, I beg your pardon. And that case pertains, the FIR is on the basis of a tweet. The same thing that had happened with Jignesh Mevani. That is what I'm saying. Is it correct or incorrect? Ms. Gupta, and I'll go to Ms. Sharma.
Preeti, yes. The case is for disrupting communal harmony of a state. That is the case. He should have gone to Punjab and presented himself. Why did he not do that? Because he thought just because, my Aka is the Home Minister of this country, I'm above the law and I will not follow the due process of law. That's what he was trying
I'm sorry, I object to this language, Preeti. And you should not be allowing it.
Ma'am, let's leave away what... Okay, one second. Okay, Ms. Gupta, Ms. Sharma, you wanted to come in.
This language.
The same... Have you seen the language of the both of you that...
to the use of the words and phraseology.
What is wrong with Aka?
I'm sorry, I did not call anybody a gunda, Aka.
But there's nothing wrong with Aka.
Gunda, offender, Aka. I'm sorry, I can also...
But Aka, there's technically nothing wrong with the word.
Then please tell me, when it's Khalistani, okay fine, I will also say, when are you arresting, when should we be arresting Mr. Khalistani, or rather an ancillary to the Khalistani movement, Mr. Arvind Kejriwal? You also should not have an objection to it.
Can we just go one by one? May I? Okay, I'm going to come in. Okay, can I just check? I'm going to go one by one. I'm sorry. It's Nupur Sharma's turn, and Ms. Gupta, I will come back to you. I will come back to you. Ms. Gupta, I promise, please hold your peace. I will come back to you. Let's go one by one. Ms. Sharma, make your point.
You know why Mr. Bagga was actually arrested, since he spoke about Berozgari? See how coolly she deviated from the matter. They are the ones who sent the police. How come she can shift the ball to our court? I clearly remember Mr. Kejriwal lying in December 2021 in the state of Uttarakhand. I gave 14 lakh jobs in the state of Delhi, in the NCT of Delhi. An RTI filed by Mr. Bagga himself revealed not even 3,500 jobs were given. Not even 3,500 jobs. So that's why, and he did a press conference on this. It was actually published. The RTI itself was published in the newspapers very famously. That's the reason. Because Mr. Bagga has been following. He's on his tail and exposing each and every lie of his. And I really want to know, everybody else is a gunda, but those who flirt with Khalistani, those who have given them a stage, a platform to re-energize as a movement are not gundas. People who harbor and promote, since she used that word, promote people like Tahir Hussain, promote people like Ansar, they are not gundas. I'll tell you what they are. Atangwadis. That's exactly what you are. You were anyway anarchist till yesterday. Today you've become Atangwadis. Otherwise, this speed and sincerity in the arrest or the attempted arrest of Mr. Bagga, was it shown in the state of Punjab, which, mind you, Mr. Bagga's tweet did not create any unrest. Otherwise, you would have an evidence or an incident to name today. If this kind of sincerity was shown, Patiala violence would have never happened. If this kind of sincerity was shown, then the 4 terrorists that actually you could not arrest from Punjab would not be arrested from Haryana yesterday. The reality is, like Mr. Kejriwal infamously said, "Mujhe police de do, fir main dikha dunga." It's nothing but vendetta politics, much akin to Section 66A,
two things.
the now infamously struck down IT Act section by the Honorable Supreme Court.
All right, two things. The operation that happened yesterday with the arrest of those 4 terrorists in Karnal was a joint operation by Punjab and Haryana police. Both of them have been given credit for it. Number 2, the story of Tajinder Bagga's RTI, which was on the jobs. India Today did a follow-up story on that, and those jobs were private and public. But points taken, Ms. Sharma. Ms. Gupta, you wanted to respond? Go ahead.
See, Preeti, the point is they keep saying this Khalistani, Khalistani. Why don't they go ahead and do something about it? They have all the agencies under them. Go ahead, make some arrests. Why come on TV channel and, rago the same old alap again and again? And secondly, Preeti, also, this again, I'm saying this Tajinder Bagga, like you just said, for that RTI, it was a fake RTI. So he's a habitual offender. And one point I want to ask Ms. Nupur Sharma, is it not that when the people of Bharatiya Janata Party, the gundas of Bharatiya Janata Party, attacked the residence of the Chief Minister, after that, there was a video with their Honorable MP Tejasvi Surya. Why did the Delhi police not go ahead and file a case against him? Why was he not arrested? They said they could not identify Tejasvi Surya. There are 1,000 videos of Tejasvi Surya in the public domain. So this is the condition of Delhi police under the Honorable Mr. Amit Shah. What trust would one have on Delhi police? And this is what they've done. It's interesting that today they're talking of democracy, they're talking of the rule of law. I'm so glad that today Bharatiya Janata Party is talking about all of these things. Maybe there'll be some due course correction in the way they're running the country, and they will stop misusing the police force and all of that. They've filed cases, around 200 cases against the Aam Aadmi Party MLAs. Most of those cases have fallen flat. So this is the vendetta politics that Bharatiya Janata Party is following. As far as Punjab Police concerned, they were acting independently. This is the first time that Punjab Police has actually been allowed to, act independently.
All right, okay. Ms. Nupur Sharma wants to come in for a rebuttal. Go ahead,
Can I just respond to this? No. Yeah, please, Preeti. Quick rebuttal. First and foremost, I don't know, maybe she doesn't read enough. The NIA has been on the coattails of your best friend, Mr. Gurvinder Singh, at whose house the KLF leader...
I will come back to you. I will come back to you. Okay. Nobody can hear anyone.
I'm sorry.
Let's go one by one. Ms. Gupta, I promise I will come back to you. Go ahead.
Allow me.
Ms. Sharma, go ahead.
The NIA, as recently as November 2021, madam, read up and come, has been on the coattails of your best friend Gurvinder Singh. Best friend of Mr. Arvind Kejriwal, where he spent the night, Khalistani Liberation Front leader. In fact, they are going to nab all these 9 people they have raided very, very soon. Point number 2, you spoke about, how we attacked the Chief Minister and mujhe maar denge. I'll tell you what, ye drama hai, Preeti. Every time there is a nakhush Aam Aadmi Party karyakarta, somebody who throws ink at him, somebody who flies a chappal at him, somebody who slaps him, eventually turns out to be an Aam Aadmi Party karyakarta only, and then he does drama video. Arey Modi ji mujhe maar denge. We have better things to do. Trust me. Modi ji is running the country. We are busy in ensuring that our growth rate really picks up. We've also seen a pandemic, yet we've delivered, as the IMF report says. Point number 3, have you forgotten how the Aam Aadmi Party actually attacked the BJP office? Or maybe you've forgotten, how your then Minister, Mr. Somnath Bharti, actually caused a wall in the AIMS complex to be fallen. Maybe you've forgotten how he was actually ordered by the Honorable Supreme Court to be arrested because he got his pregnant wife bitten by a dog. Maybe you have forgotten,
there'll be lots of cases on both sides if you're going to get personal. Okay, one second.
Mr. Arvind Kejriwal calling for the boycott of the Republic Day. No. Don't teach us law and order.
Please allow me to
Okay. Yes, I will. Okay, may I?
You yourself call yourself
Ms. Sharma, you've made your point.
You're the people who said, you're the people who called for the boycott of the Republic Day. Is it not true?
All right, may I? Okay, quick rebuttal. Okay, Ms. Gupta, you want to answer back? Quick rebuttal. That's it. Go ahead back.
Preeti, since the past 7 years, they've been filing false cases against all our MLAs, and one by one, everybody gets, think of all charges. Today itself, Mr. Satyen Jain, for 4 years, CBI tried its best to build a case. Today he was acquitted of all charges. So this is the modus operandi that BJP has been following. you know, any journalist, like journalists in Uttar Pradesh who raised a small voice against lack of oxygen were put behind bars. The freedom press of, you know, freedom of press index, we are at the bottommost, all thanks to the Bharatiya Janata Party. So it's a little rich coming from Bharatiya Janata Party talking about vendetta politics. That's all they've done for 7 years.
May I with that please bow out of this debate?
No, which court has acquitted Mr. Satinder Jain? No, which
Please read
court
the
has
newspaper,
acquitted
madam.
Mr. Satinder
Madam,
Jain?
read the newspaper. This
I'm
is Frontline
sorry, I can't
today.
find this news
Maybe you didn't get a chance to read the newspaper.
Please tell me which
Frontline
court?
news
Which
everywhere.
court? Name the court.
Frontline news
Name the
every
court,
day, madam.
Name the
Frontline
court.
May I?
Name the court which has acquitted him and of what charges?
Coming to TV.
Name the
May
court
I
which
request?
has acquitted him.
May I request
Name
both
the
the
court
ladies
which
to
has
take this
acquitted him and
offline?
of what FIR number?
Okay, may I request both the ladies to take this offline? I appreciate both of you for joining us. You know, I would reckon today is a day which any political party, which say, because history stands testimony, because in the game of political one-upmanship, the autonomy of independent institutions, here, law and order, the police force is usually the biggest collateral or casualty. Appreciate all of you for joining us, and for those of you who think the matters ended, not quite, because the court is now hearing the case tomorrow. The High Court, the Punjab and Haryana High Court, because the Punjab Police has approached the High Court saying the intervention of the Haryana Police was not merely unwarranted but unlawful and illegal. What it will come down to, viewers, is that the court will now decide whether the arrest by the Punjab Police of Tajinder Bagga was legal. If it's legal, then in all probability Tajinder Bagga will go back to the Punjab Police if the ruling is legal. If the ruling is that it was illegal, Tajinder Bagga stays right here in the national capital, and the Punjab Police and the Punjab government have an embarrassing day to face. I want to also now quickly go across to, usually the Aam Aadmi Party has always, at least prima facie, stood for freedom of speech. Why do I say that? My colleague Sweta spoke when we had interviewed Arvind Kejriwal. I had asked Arvind Kejriwal on the question of Tajinder Bagga being faced with an FIR, that will he be arrested soon? This is what the Chief Minister of Delhi had to say there.
अरविंद जी, आज एक और मुद्दे को लेकर बड़ी चर्चा है, वो ये कि जब तक अरविंद केजरीवाल दूसरे नेताओं को बोलते थे तब तक तो ठीक था, आज किसी ने उनके खिलाफ बोला है तो उस पर FIR दर्ज कर ली गई पंजाब में।
किसने किसके खिलाफ बोला?
तेजिंदर बग्गा पर।
किसके, क्या बोला उसने, किसके खिलाफ बोला?
आप पर बोला था, उसके बाद पंजाब में केस हो गया है FIR।
कौन है तेजिंदर बग्गा?
FIR होनी चाहिए आपके खिलाफ बोलने पर।
नहीं, बिल्कुल नहीं होनी। कौन है तेजिंदर बग्गा?
भारतीय जनता पार्टी के नेता हैं।
मैं तो ना तेजिंदर बग्गा को जानता,
बड़े
ना
पोस्टर लगाते हैं वो आपके खिलाफ दिल्ली भर में।
वो तो सारी बीजेपी इस टाइम पोस्टर लगाने में लगी हुई है। कोई पिक्चरों के पोस्टर लगा रहा है, कोई केजरीवाल के पोस्टर लगा रहा है।
FIR नहीं होनी चाहिए अगर कोई बोल रहा है। अभिव्यक्ति की आजादी होनी चाहिए।
किसी, कल आदेश गुप्ता जी ने मेरे को कितनी गालियां दी हैं, कितनी गंदी गंदी गालियां दी हैं। गालियां उनको मुबारक, हम ऐसी राजनीति करने ही नहीं आए, गाली गलौज की राजनीति नहीं करने आए। ऐसे थोड़ी देश सुधरेगा एक दूसरे को गालियां देने से।
All right, now 36-year-old Tajinder Bagga has been known for inciting controversies. Just to get an insight on who Tajinder Bagga is and how he got associated with the Bharatiya Janata Party. He started off by floating a lesser-known political outfit, the Bhagat Singh Kranti Sena. He shot to limelight after attacking Prashant Bhushan. It was this incident that launched Bagga's political career. Here is the man of the moment, literally, who now clearly has been elevated with the police of Haryana rescuing him, giving him back to the Delhi police, and him being escorted now back to Delhi.
The BJP's mouthpiece and go-to man to incite controversies. Tajinder Bagga's political career began at a young age with a lesser-known political outfit, the Bhagat Singh Kranti Sena, the infamous New Delhi-based nationalist right-wing organization. Though he was an RSS member since his teenage days, Tajinder never shied away from calling himself a Bhagat Singh follower. He first came into the limelight when he and his outfit, the Bhagat Singh Kranti Sena, physically assaulted lawyer Prashant Bhushan over a statement made by him on Kashmir in October 2011. He justified the attack on the party's Facebook page and Twitter account, achieving instant notoriety across the country. The newly created outfit began to attract right-wing support. The move was dubbed patriotic by some and jingoistic by others. It did, however, launch Bagga's political career. He became the youngest national working member of the Bharatiya Janata Party at the age of 23. Tajinder Bagga used his popularity on social media to full scale. His large Twitter following helped him gain frenzied media attention. He also called for a boycott of several celebrities in the past, describing them as anti-national and trolling them with provocative statements and name-calling. In 2011, Bagga made headlines when he barged into an event at Delhi's India Habitat Centre and disrupted the launch of author Arundhati Roy's book, calling her work anti-army and pro-Kashmir Azadi. Bagga also runs an online store called T-Shirt Bhaiya that sells t-shirts and jewellery with nationalist slogans. One of the t-shirts sold on the site had an image of the controversial Human Shield incident in Kashmir. In 2015, his Bhagat Singh Kranti Sena started the Namo Patrika online news and opinion site dedicated to Prime Minister Modi. He was one of the BJP's social media influencers who met Prime Minister Modi at his official residence that same year. Owing to his hardcore Hindu ideology, he was made National Secretary of the BJP's youth wing. The BJP's faith in him was deepening. In 2020, the Delhi Legislative Assembly election, he contested from the Harinagar constituency but lost. But the Aam Aadmi Party's wave and his vitriolic campaign against his political rivals became the reason for a humiliating defeat. Bagga's list of controversies is unending, from criticizing the Aam Aadmi Party on social media to targeting Delhi Chief Minister Kejriwal over his comments on the Kashmir files. Tajinder Bagga's barrage is unstoppable. Bureau Report, India Today.
A personal anecdote, viewers. In 2014, when Arvind Kejriwal was standing against Narendra Modi from the city of Varanasi in the general elections, Tajinder Bagga was unleashed on the Aam Aadmi Party that time as a shoot-and-scoot poster boy. Everywhere Arvind Kejriwal would go, he would put a poster against Kejriwal and run. At that point of time, the Aam Aadmi Party never thought it worth taking him on. Well, it's come a full circle. This is a big India Today impact. Tamil Nadu Chief Minister M.K. Stalin has said that the horrific custodial death of Vignesh will be investigated as murder. The AIDMK staged a walkout from the assembly over the case, demanding a CBI probe. Meanwhile, the State Human Rights Commission has taken cognizance of the case. With that, it's a wrap on Newstrack. To stay with us.